Sometimes devils just have a lot of nerve. They really, truly do. And too many devils in this society do things that they are completely guilty of, but always make attempts to make themselves look like victims. And they're actually villains, like in this case. These three are desperate to get the hate crime charges off of them, and I don't believe they even deserve that. Just imagine if they would have just left Ahmaud Arbery alone. They wouldn't be sitting in jail today. So let's get into it because, this is not the first time. So they're going to make, I guess, multiple attempts to get the hate crime convictions off of them, which they absolutely don't deserve. So the attorneys are asking U.S. Appeals Court to throw out the hate crime convictions of three white men who used pickup trucks to chase Ahmaud Arbery through the streets of Georgia's subdivision before one of them, which we know is Travis McMichael, shot him. A panel of judges from the 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in Atlanta was scheduled to hear oral arguments Wednesday in the case that followed a national outcry over Aubrey's death. Yeah, because y'all tried to let these men off without a care. The white men's lawyer argued that evidence of past racist comments they made didn't prove a racist intent to harm. I guess if I was in a fairy tale, I would believe that. But in reality, I don't. So on February 23rd, 2020, father and son, Greg and Travis McMichael, armed themselves with guns and drove in pursuit of Aubrey after spotting the 25-year-old running in their neighborhood outside of Port City of Brunswick. A neighbor, William Roddie Bryan, who couldn't refuse to chase down an innocent black man, joined them. And he was in his own truck and recorded the cell phone video that he was dumb enough to believe was going to get them exonerated. And it actually incriminated them. All right. So the video showed Travis McMichael shooting Aubrey in the streets. Mm-mm-mm. So more than 2 months passed and there were no arrests. And that's where the public outcry came from. All right? Because these men killed a man and they were still free. All three men were convicted of murder in Georgia in late 2021 after a second trial. In early 2022, in federal court, a jury found the trio guilty of hate crimes and attempted kidnapping, and concluding the men targeted Aubrey because he was black. In legal briefs filled ahead of their appeals, the lawyers for Greg McMichael, Bryan, cited prosecutors used more than 24 social media posts and text messages, as well as witness testimony that showed all three men using racist slurs and otherwise disparaging black people. Bryan's attorney, isn't Bryan up for assault? There were a couple of women that were coming after him. Yes, he was. So his attorney said Bryan's past racist statements inflamed the trial jury while failing to prove that Aubrey was pursued because of his race. Instead, Aubrey was chased because the three men mistakenly suspected he was a fleeing criminal, according to A.J. Balbo, McMichael's lawyer. Well, isn't that what 911 is for? They took matters into their own hands, and look at what happened. Greg McMichael initiated the chase when Aubrey ran past his home, saying he recognized the young black man from security camera videos in the prior months, showing him entering a neighbor's house under construction. But a lot of people entered that house when it was under construction. A lot of people did. And that showed up on that camera too. None of the videos showed him stealing. Aubrey was unarmed and had not stolen any property when he was killed. Prosecutors said in a written brief that the trial evidence showed longstanding hate and prejudice towards Black people, influenced the defendant's assumption that Aubrey was committing crimes. In Travis McMichael's appeal, attorney Amy Lee Copeland didn't dispute the jury's findings that he was motivated by racism. The social media evidence included the 2018 Facebook post Travis McMichael made on a video of a black man playing a prank on a white person. He used racial slurs after he wrote, "I'd kill that N word." So a black guy was pranking a white guy, and that sent you over the edge. Wow. Instead, Copeland based her appeal on legal technicalities. She said the prosecutor failed to prove the streets of Satilla Shores subdivision where Aubrey was killed were public roads, as stated in the indictment used to charge the men. Copeland cited the records of 1958 meeting of Glenn County commissioners in which they rejected taking ownership of the streets from the subdivision developer. At the trial, prosecutors relied on service request records and testimony from the county officials to show that the streets have been maintained by the county government. Lawyers for the trio also made technical arguments for overturning their attempted kidnapping convictions. Prosecutors said the charge fit because the men used pickup trucks to cut off Aubrey's escape from the neighborhood. Defense attorney said the charge was improper because the clients weren't trying to capture Aubrey for ransom or some other benefit, but the trucks weren't used as an instrument of interstate commerce. Both require elements of attempted kidnapping to be a federal crime. Boy, y'all, these men aren't getting out of jail. I don't know why. This is like Derek Chauvin all over again with mountains of appeals that all got rejected. The McMichaels, they should be rejected. What they did was wrong. Had they mind their business that they would be free. But they just couldn't leave well enough alone. They couldn't do it. I don't feel sorry for people like that. Okay. So prosecutors said other federal appellate circuits have ruled that any automobile used in a kidnapping qualifies as an instrument of interstate commerce. And they said the benefit of the men sought to fulfill their personal desires to carry out vigilante justice. The trial judge sentenced the McMichaels to life in prison for their hate crime conviction, plus additional time, 10 years for Travis McMichael and 7 years for his father, for brandishing guns while committing violent crimes. Bryan received a lighter hate crime sentence of 35 years in prison, in part because he wasn't armed and preserved the cell phone video that became crucial evidence. Boy, he thought that was going to clear them, and it really became evidence against the three. Definitely not the sharpest tools in the shed. All three also got 20 years in prison for attempted kidnapping, but the judge ordered the time to overlap with their hate crime sentences. If the U.S. Appeals Court overturned any of their federal convictions, both the McMichaels and Bryan would remain in jail. All three are serving life sentences in Georgia State Prison for murder and have motions for new state trials pending before a judge. And I hope it's rejected. They don't deserve no new trial. It was nothing wrong with the trial they were on, and they were convicted. The hell with that. Stop wasting the taxpayer money and serve your time and shut the hell up. Shut up. We don't want to hear from the McMichaels and Bryan. Shut up, do your time, and stop being a nuisance. All of these appeals are for naught. Y'all ain't getting out of there. And nobody should overturn anything unless Ahmaud Arbery can come back from the dead. Nothing should be overturned. So, y'all, please tell me what you think about this video. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.